Good morning. When I was asked to speak today about persistence, I was hesitant and I wondered, why me? But as I thought and prayed about it, I began to see, yes, I do have a persistent nature, and perhaps I have something to share with you. In Luke chapter 18, verses 1 through 8, there is a parable about a widow who kept coming to the judge and saying, "Grant me justice against my adversity." And he kept saying no, but she was persistent and kept coming back until she finally wore him down, and he saw to it that she got justice. And the Lord said, "Listen to what the unjust judge says, and will not God bring about justice for his chosen ones, who cry out to him day and night? I tell you, he will see that they get justice." I grew up in the Congregational Church in a small town in Nebraska, where my mother was superintendent of Sunday school and my father the church treasurer. I attended Nebraska Wesleyan University in Lincoln, where I met my husband, who was a Methodist. We lived in many locations after he graduated and joined a large corporation, and we belonged to at least a dozen United Methodist churches, while always serving on committees and usually singing in the church choir. The church was one of the first things we sought in a new community. It gave us a sense of grounding and being part of that community. I have had a persistent prayer life throughout my life. How do any of us navigate the hurricanes, the roadblocks, and the unforeseeable events in our lives, if not through prayer? It has to be about trusting Christ to lead and guide us. We cling to our faith through all the obstacles and discouragement we encounter, and God hears our prayers, even though the answer may sometimes be no. I can remember several times in my life when, even through persistent prayer, the answer was no. My husband and I had been married for 7 years, and though we were doctoring and praying, still were childless. This was a very painful period in our lives, and a constant roller coaster of hope and then disappointment. Together, we made the decision to try to adopt, and we're so fortunate to find our special daughters 2 years apart in 2 different cities. I believe this was a case where God said no, but provided a different and better answer for us. By bowing before God as a family to offer words of thanks, petitions for assistance, and expressions of love, my relationship with my husband and daughters has been strengthened in ways that can never be measured. Going back to the verses in Luke, where the widow is eventually granted her request, even if it's not for the best of reasons, Jesus points out through this the need for patient persistence in prayer on our part. I think this is a call for God's people to persist in lives of faith and prayer and not to give up. As we join together in the Stewardship campaign, we must remember that what we have is not our own. Rather, it belongs to the Lord. We are merely managers of what God has placed in our hands. Through our tithes and offerings that are faithfully and persistently given, God's kingdom work is being done right here and now. Thank you.